hard, don't need rest. No breaks when you're chasing success. You snooze, you lose, no redos. Only get one shot, there's no sequel. Have fun, love what you do. Live right, be your own individual. Stay sharp, play smart, this is your life. I don't know much, but I know you don't live twice. Don't waste it, yeah, don't waste it, yeah, don't waste it.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Unsung Heroes. I'm your host, Chrissy Morales, and I'm here with a special guest who is the founder of Note2Queen and Note2King, Diane Mapp. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you for having me.
It's such an honor to have you here today. I know that your little trip endeavor is a little
the weather, GPS is horrible.
Yeah.
But we made it here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's start by telling the audience about your organization and what's it about.
Well, I'll start with Note2Queen. Note2Queen is an organization that celebrates women through adversity. And because of my own experiences, I started to look deeper into mental health and why people feel and act the way that they do in light of trauma. And so I try to tackle women who are suffering in silence through whatever mental health illness, challenges and issues, and so that pretty much is what Note2Queen does. That's when I celebrate them. I do it through the arts. I do it through workshop, inspiration, posts, texts, phone calls, whatever I can do to impact the community and build it up. Note2King is kind of the same concept with a little added more of a brotherhood because at times society doesn't want that to happen, particularly with our African American males. They don't gather together and build each other up, and so I have that kind of aspect. And I have 3 boys, and that's kind of what I want them to do, is to bond, to have unity, and encourage each other, because there's so many trials that they're going through, that they're faced, stigmas that they're faced growing up as young African American males. Right.
And what inspired you to do this? Because I was reading your biography, and like I was telling everyone in our crew, it is very intense, and it what you have to say is just amazing. So I'm gonna let you speak.
Okay. Well, for me, I grew up in a single parent home with my father, and I had never knew my mother. And I had always had questions about where she is, why she wasn't there. My father never said a single, negative thing about her, just that she couldn't take care of you right now, and I am here. But as you can imagine, as a young girl growing up in the world where I have friends who have parents, I have friends who, are going through different situations with me, there was a lot of questions. There was a lot of need. And I had aunts and I had other people's friends' mothers, but none of them filled that void. Women, we need
our mothers.
We need our mothers.
Yeah.
We need that unity, that bond, that kangaroo stage that I was missing. And so I went through life with a lot of challenges. Depression about it. Did I do something wrong? What is it about me that she didn't want me? Because she has other children that she actively took care of. And as a child, I didn't know, and I always questioned that. And so how I went through life feeling like a failure, feeling like, I'm defeated. I can't go to a man with some women issues, I went through bullying. I was an emotional eater, and I ate my way through, high school
the struggle,
and the stress and stuff. And my father passed away at age 15, where I felt myself homeless. I had some issues with my family where we weren't really seeing eye to eye. And I didn't really open up to my family because at that time I didn't feel like they were worth opening up to, like they would really understand what I was going through, because all these years, how could you not see what I'm going through? And maybe that was a little unfair now that I look back on it, because we want to get to a point where we can open up and share and say, hey, I need help. But as a youth, that's really hard to just think that a child can do that. And so I went through life without my mother. My father passed, and now I don't have any parents, and I found myself pregnant with twins.
Well, that's a blessing.
At 19 years old, I was in a homeless shelter. And I lost one of my twins. I was going through a lot of depression, my father had passed, and you know, a lot of people had led me to believe that I had caused this, you know, death because of stress that I put on him, not knowing any of the background or any things that I've seen as a child that I shouldn't have seen, or that I internalized my interpretation of what was going on around me in my household, when I was really just reaching out for some love and attention that I really wasn't getting.
What you needed was help, and what you needed was assistance.
Absolutely.
And you needed somebody to be there for you.
Absolutely.
But they weren't.
Absolutely.
But with this, built this amazing woman that's sitting here with me right now.
It has definitely. I look back on those times now, and I'm a spiritual person. And I believe that nobody but God has got me through all of that. I mean, even just this segment is so much more that has happened. And I lost my son. I had to bury a child at 19. I'm a child myself, still I lost a lot of my youth, trying to grow up, and I had to grow up fast. I had to, figure things out. So I went through depression. I went through anxiety. I went through this dark area where I had no one. I felt like I didn't have no one. And people may have been actively around me, but I was still, they don't understand. I was fighting something that I couldn't even describe. And so as I got older, I said, you know what, if I could impact a young little girl and get her to understand the value of self-love way before I ever did, then that's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth sharing my story. It's worth, we have these different platforms. We have social media. It's worth even just putting an inspirational message up there. And I get people a lot, that'll come in my inbox and say, you inspire me. And it shocks me all the time, because I'm like, oh, that makes me feel good. Then I know people are watching. I know people are
and people are watching, and they are listening. And that's how I found you. I saw you on Instagram, and I just think social media is amazing because it can contact you and connect you with different people. But I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm blessed to be here. You don't even understand.
Thank you so much. Coming up, we'll find out what makes Diane Mapp an unsung hero. Hi everyone, this is Chrissy Morales, the producer and host of Unsung Heroes. It's amazing to see how many great people there are in this world spreading a positive message. If you're interested in hearing their stories, join me on Unsung Heroes, Chrissy Morales. Welcome back to Unsung Heroes. I'm here with Diane Mapp. Hi, Diane.
Hi.
We've been having such a great conversation, and I just want to get to know you more and more. So what I want to know is, what do you think makes an unsung hero?
I think anyone who makes an impact, a contribution to their community positively, that's an unsung hero. Anyone who wants to give back and see their community grow and prosper.
I agree, and you're doing just that. Isn't she, guys? Can we give her a round of applause? So Diane, let's get to talking more about your organization and what you're doing, and how did you actually get started that?
Okay, well, I started at community college. I'm a creative writer. I enjoy writing. I think it's therapeutic. And at the time, I wanted to go to school to be able to do journalism, to do production media, and do theater, because I did all of it and I enjoy it. And so at community college, I focused on this manuscript that I had edited through a creative writing workshop, and I entered into the program. It was called Renew My Strength. And it hasn't been published yet, but I workshopped it, and I edited and workshopped it with a bunch of peers who have the same goal. And I said, you know what, inside of Renew My Strength talked about the different manifestations of depression that I went through. It talked about who I am as a person, how I was an emotional eater, how, I was, dealing with obesity. And I said, you know what? I like to take selfies. That's my big thing. And I said, how can I combine the two? And I remember in my room, I used to have the only one picture of my mother that I found in the basement. And I used to put it up, and I said, when you look in the mirror, who do I see? And for a while, I'm like, I see this woman, but she's not me. And so I never really said kind things to myself. I always felt like I wasn't worthy just because of the relationship that I didn't have. Just because, you know, I had a father who loved me, who at that time, being a single parent and a father taking care of a daughter, was excellent. You know, that he made the decision to continue despite whatever was going on, because as a child, I don't know what my parents were going through. And I would look in the mirror and I would say, you know, this is me. And I said, other women probably feel the same way. Other young girls probably feel the same way. So instead of then I said, okay, well, I like to take selfies. Instead of the mirror, you know, let's turn this camera around on the phone and look at yourself. And so I have a logo that I sent you of a girl who was just, you know, regular, and when she looks into the reflection of her phone, she has a crown on. This is a queen. This is who you actually are. And how do we pour into that so that you know that you see that? We pour in affirmations, we pour in self-love, hugs, kindness, you know, love, and affection towards yourself, so that when you pour into yourself inward, it can spill out outward and change someone else's lives. And so I've been dedicated to that effortlessly.
That's amazing. And what you're doing is impacting other women. What are some activities that you've been doing with this?
When I first, as a first for everything, so Renew My Shift, I kind of put that manuscript to the side and I started, you know, writing another one, kind of starting and finishing. And then I said, you know what, I want to do a workshop. And so I did a workshop called Dear Queen, where I get other women who are in these platforms who want to inspire. And I said, hey, I want to have a workshop where you could come in your own way, unify us women, build us up together, bond together, and empower us together. And so that went well. So I do workshops. And then I'm a writer as well, as I said, and I thought about this stage play. And I did theater in school, temple, everything. And then I stumbled across two brothers, Khalik Hayes and Stephen Gardner. They're the founders of Childhood's Lost Foundation, which is centered around the arts. And I said, I love the arts, they love the arts. And I've been with them for about 3 years now. And I said, I'm gonna do a stage play. And I'm not going to do your typical stage play. We're going to do a stage play that's going to empower women, get women out of this state of depression. And so I did Enemy in the Mirror. And Enemy in the Mirror dealt with every aspect of mental health issues, challenges, to get women to that wellness.
I love it.
That place of love. It talked about obesity. It talked about colorism. Wow. You know, the dark-skinned girl who hates her skin. And even with obesity, it delves back to childhood, you know, trauma that stems from there. Right. And the tomboy, you know, the girl who wants to just wear boy clothing, but society says, oh no, you're a lesbian. Well, that's not true. No. You know, I love myself. Why do I have to feel less than a woman to wear what I want to wear? Right. And so that's where, you know, it came about, eating disorders and, you know, depression, you know, self-hurting, self-harm.
So then you did the Note2Queen, and then from there stemmed the Note2King.
Yes, and Note2King, you know, we're having 3 boys and some challenges that they face. You know, I think that is just so crucial that men get together. Not even, you know, to just talk, but, you know, society doesn't want men, you know, to cry and have that softer side. But it's really okay, because who empowers them? Right, exactly. You know, how do they get that emotion out? Right, and it's great that you have this organization. You have 2 that empower women and men. And I think that's just amazing, because we can all unify together to kind of empower each other and grow. So they both are movements right now, and I filed for 501c3, and we're waiting for that. Oh, that's amazing. We're hoping great things for you, aren't we, guys? Yes, thank you. So we'll be right back after this short break. Hi, my name is Diane Mapp, and I am the founder of Note2Queen and Note2King. And this is an organization that celebrates women and men through adversities, women and men who are struggling through mental health issues, suffering in silence. You can follow this organization. It practices and encourages women and men to practice self-love, to avoid the stigma, and live a healthier, prosperous life.
Welcome back to Unsung Heroes. I'm Chrissy Morales, and you guys have the honor of having Diane Mapp here on the show.
Hey.
So Diane, we were talking about Note2Queen, Note2King. What are your future endeavors?
Well, right now I'm editing. I'm having my manuscript edited for the several umpteenth time. But I just want to make sure there's no rush for me to be an author. I want to make sure that the material that I'm putting out is going to impact our communities, our youth, our males, our females. And so that is coming up very shortly.
And can you give us a snippet about what it would be about?
It's kind of like mirror, mirror on the wall, you know, who's the bravest of them all, you know, through warriors of mental health issues and challenges. You no longer have to suffer in silence. You are never alone. Someone is always going through something, but you have to build each other up, and so that's what I plan to do with that.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
And you have a play script you're working on
yes.
too?
Well, Fatherless Sons has been something that has been in the works, and that just talks about young men, even older men who did not have a father present in their lives. And I'm not going to focus so much on why they weren't there. It's the emotional state that you're in, and how it affects you and being a citizen and being a father, and how it affects how you navigate through life. And so we want to get to the root of that. Get to the root of men. Men go through pain too. Men are, they're suffering as well, and so we want to get through that and show that on stage, because I love stage. I love theater, because you could be suffering, and sometimes you don't see yourself, in that environment or in those shoes. And so when you see it on stage, you're able to identify it sometimes and say, hey, that's kind of me. I'm going through that. And then we empower and we inspire and we educate.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, will you be doing a workshop on this as well?
I always do a workshop before the play.
Okay.
With Enemy in the Mirror, I did a workshop called Reflections, and that's kind of a similar title to the manuscript that I'm having edited right now, Reflection, and it dealt with 12 women who were warriors. They were going through different situations, all different situations, from high pain, low pain, and I just want to stress this to our viewers that no pain is small, no situation is small. If you're going through it, it's just as important as someone who has a serious diagnosis. Nothing is overlooked, and so I've been working on that. I have something coming up in September for suicide prevention.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's pretty amazing. It's kind of like not your typical fashion show, but I want to show what depression, what these disorders look like. We don't, you could be going through having a disorder. I could be having a disorder, and we look perfectly fine. Right. But I want to show the outside of that, of what those disorders look like.
Now, how are you going to do that? Through
clothing?
So I'm going
to do through clothing, through words, through snippets of theater.
That's amazing.
So
I love it. I love it all.
it's all creative, and it's not going to be a typical thing. And I have a couple people who are going to be on the board of Note2Queen when we finally become 501c3, that we're going to sit and plan, and we're going to brainstorm this, and we're going to bring awareness to the community and help heal our community through this fashion theater / production show thing. That
I love it. I love it. And I know that a lot of people are going to want to look it up.
Yes.
How can they find you?
Facebook has made me change my name. I used to be under Queen Lady D, because that's kind of what I go by, because I believe that every woman is a queen, every man is a king. Right. And so I'm on social media as Diane Mapp, Facebook under Diane Mapp. Note2Queen is on Facebook under Note2Queen, Note, the number 2, Queen, Note2King, Note, the number 2, King. And on Instagram, I'm under Queen Lady D. You can find me, and you can also find Note2Queen and Note2King on Instagram. And
for those out there who are looking for advice, because they're looking at you, you said you inspired them, you're on Instagram, I found you on Instagram, and direct message you. You're willing to talk to them and have them.
I'm willing to talk to anyone. I'm willing to just listen. And I think that's the most important when you're going through your trials and tribulations. You want someone to listen. I understand. I've been there. I'm going through. Right. And I just want to be able to help you get to a point where you're feeling so great about yourself, because you can have dark days. But it's about how we come up out of it and just being educated on the different mental health issues and treatments and diagnosis, and let's rid of the stigma. You know what I mean? Because we can also be happy, functional people, you know, and people not be afraid of what we're going through.
Exactly.
So.
And for those who are out there seeking some advice, what would you say to them right now if they're in the same position that you were in, you know, while you were pregnant and going through all these emotions and depression? What would you say to them right now?
Trauma doesn't last always. You can overcome this. Be faithful. If you're spiritual, keep God at the forefront. Keep praying, and reach out to people like myself. Reach out to those who want to swarm you with love. Don't allow yourself to push that away. You know what I mean? And my motto for Note2Queen is live in your own lane, stubbornly and unapologetically. Be yourself. Never be afraid to be who you are. Because if the society doesn't want you who you are, then they don't need you. You know what I mean? So.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for those beautiful words. Yes. So I want to honor you with this certificate of being an unsung hero to our community.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of Unsung Heroes and I Am News,
this is amazing.
You are now an unsung hero to our community.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is a wonderful opportunity. I really
You've just been
appreciate
amazing, and everything that you've talked about. I look forward to working with you, and my team looks forward to working with you. Can we give her a round of applause for being a queen?
Yay!
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Let's take some selfies.
Yeah.
Since you're the selfie queen.
I am.